Friday Night Lights. Big win at West football this chilly October evening. Had a great time. I had to work the sideline. I was at the game working hard for free, running around chasing the sticks, as they say in the football world. But yeah, good game. Big win for those West Rebels. Playoffs are brewing. The different things you have to do to make the playoffs are starting to get figured out. So anyway, Almost Agreement, gmail.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, website, Almost Agreement. Check out what's going on there. Go to your favorite podcast provider, like, friend, share, follow, text us the show to your friends. Do what you can do to support us. We're going to keep talking all sorts of shit about all sorts of people. And I don't know. We'll see if we get somebody really, really mad, and that'll make us famous. Anyway, Almost Agreement, everybody. We appreciate you. And we're going to start a show right about now.
Hey.
What's new with you?
Oh, no.
What's happening? What do you want to share with me tonight? I don't know. I'm just trying to mix it up a little bit. Same series of questions, just ask them differently, maybe answer it differently.
Yeah, okay.
Cool. Good answer. Exciting.
Yeah.
The co-host of co-hosts, everybody. My Sam. Yeah, so it's been a fun, exciting week in the world of Knox News, Knox County, and the city of Knoxville. The city early voting has continued all week. The numbers are still crappy, although they have started to tick up a bit. But as far as like comparatively, like a primary that was crappy to the general that follows it being appropriately, the ratio is about consistent in the crappiness. Where the primary, I can't remember what the ratio is, but it's like 2.3 to 1. So if the primary does 100, the general do 230.
Yeah. So
it's significantly more than the primaries, and it also includes this ballot initiative on the tax thing. But you know, nobody's coming, or nobody's going to get out to vote, and you know the tax increase doesn't seem to be impacting, other than District 5, who wouldn't have an election right now otherwise. That's the only one. We know the numbers. If you're a District 5 voter and you vote, the only thing that's on your ballot is, do you want to raise sales tax or not?
Many people show up and we're like, this is
it.
All I got?
I would think, I don't know. It's a good question. Because it is new. It's different. This is the first time the new format has kicked in. So it's theoretically, like, it's logical to go and like, I showed up and I only have even if you're in District 2, you only have your District 2 race and the tax thing.
Right.
It's like, wait a minute. I usually vote like 5 or 6 people every time I vote.
Yeah.
What's going on here? I'm only voting for one person. You know, but I think the natural response to that is the reason why the city, the people that bother to vote in city races are the ones that are paying attention and actually understand what's going on. So it's likely that most people that are going to vote in the city races. And so
yeah,
I did some...
I think some people probably looked up a sample ballot.
Right. I did some minor sleuthins on my... So the big one to me, and I don't know, I reached out to Rhonda Lee's campaign manager and political consultant extraordinaire, Eric Wider, with a couple of questions. I sent you the story about Rhonda Lee wanting to being very upset because she wanted to do the county commission to do a little honorific statement for Charley Kirk. And so just to get some of the brass tacks and general logistics out of the way here, the meeting that is referenced it's the agenda review meeting. The agenda review meeting is functionally, it's basically an announced time for the commissioners to get together and talk about what's on the agenda. And so it's not a meeting, it's not a voting meeting, it's not any of that. It's literally just we have the sunshine laws, we're not allowed to talk about stuff privately. I didn't have time to schedule a meeting with, whomever to talk about this and set up the public forum aspect of us doing a meeting on the topic. So the agenda review meeting is a way for all the commissioners to be in a room. It's in a public place where people can come spectate on it. And so it's not an official meeting. It's just a meeting about the upcoming meeting. And an item that Rhonda Lee had put on the agenda for the next meeting was this honorific for Charley Kirk, to which multiple commissioners, all the Democrats, a couple of the Republicans, were like, what? What are we doing? We're not doing that. That's dumb. That's a paraphrase. That's not a quote from anybody. Nobody said that phrase I just said. That was the vibe coming out of the commission. Because it is. I mean, so I sent you the story from the Tennessee Conservative News.com, which, you know, guess how this story is going to play out since Rhonda's on Team Them. So yeah, the Tennessee Conservative News.com headline is Republican Knox County Commissioners oppose Charley Kirk resolution. And so you read it. I didn't know she was an Esquire. Where do you go, Rhonda Lee? Rhonda Lee Esquire. I didn't know that she had that her own honorific. I don't know. You read the story. What was your the gist of the story? Not your takeaways. Just give me the cliff notes of this story. Not this version of the story. The truth of the story, as you understand it, or this version, whichever one. Just specify.
Well, I mean, that's the only version I have. Is this? The one thing that stuck out to me was the editor's biography. It tickled me that said she was a political refugee from Colorado.
Olivia Lupia is a political refugee from Colorado who now calls Tennessee home. Get the fuck out of here. That's bullshit. Tennessee conservatives are trying to conserve Tennessee, not for Coloradans. Coloradians? Go home. 1-800-U-Haul. Courtesy of Eric Wider, everybody. Anyway, so basically the story is Rhonda Lee wants to put this resolution up that's honoring Charley Kirk, and if you've ever paid attention to a commission or a city council meeting, many bodies do these kind of things. You've always heard me pretty consistently complain about all of them. I think it's dumb that we do this in the first place. Let's take a minute out of a meeting that barely anybody pays attention to, or let's take a couple extra minutes on a meeting that's going to go super long because the public forum's all pissed off about something different. Let's just take 5 minutes to read this proclamation about how the Commission of Knox County, Tennessee wants to honor blah for blah and blah 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 blah, and they give them a little what are those things called? Not a plaque, but a certificate. It's all pretty printing and stuff like that, and I don't fully hate the premise. Like if it was I don't know, Fulton High School track went out and won the state championship, and after they come back or whatever, the commission wants to honor the Fulton High School and their track coaches for a great season or something like that. It's quick and easy and get out of the way. It's decent. It's local. It's about people that live here in Knoxville. It's honoring people in Knoxville to the other people of Knox County, that kind of thing. Okay, I still think it's dumb, but that makes sense to do.
Right, and I think they mentioned in it that per either county bylaws or state bylaws, it doesn't have to be local. But I think there was some kind of pushback just for that. It's this is supposed to be geared more towards local honorees.
There's no legality saying what it has to be. The general rules, the general rules on it do imply some sort of. It has to have some local reference, which Rhonda is trying to use. Well, there's a Turning Point USA chapter at UT. There are a number of Charley Kirk fans. He has visited here a few times over his years. Blah, 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 blah. That makes it semi-relevant. But it's supposed to be about a local person or a local business that deserves honoring. I think, generally speaking, when and if one of these ends up happening, it's not the Randy Boyds or the Bill Haslams of the neighborhood of Knox County. It's usually Billy Bob's Tire Shop that it's like a third, fourth generation business that's been here in Knox County, that the dad that opened it in 1930 whatever is retiring.
Right. It's celebrated 75 years in the community.
And the tire shop is always donated to the schools and is a big sponsor of these different community events and stuff like that. Okay, yeah, makes sense. So anyway, a bunch of commissioners don't want to vote for it because it's stupid and it's not appropriate. But then more importantly, a couple of commissioners, two specifically, don't want to go on record voting against it. And that's the truth of what's at play here. The truth of what's at play here is Rhonda Lee, via Eric Weider, I gave him the opportunity to tell me that I'm wrong. He has not responded, so I will assume that I'm right until he corrects me. Eric Weider said, hey, Rhonda, you're going to put this resolution up because we're going to force Kim Frazier and Larson J. to vote against it because they're going to vote against it, or they're at least going to abstain. And then next year when they're running for mayor, and we're in our primary process for our Betsy, who's on our team, we're going to make a big stink about how these guys voted against honoring Charley Kirk. And this is just it's a pure political move. I would argue, and I don't have direct contact to Rhonda Lee, or I would have asked her too, because I'm going to try to pretend to be more journalistically consistent. But like, I would bet that I'm sure Rhonda Lee is a Charley Kirk fan at some level, but she doesn't give a shit about this she doesn't care about this resolution. She's not doing this to honor Charley Kirk. She's doing this as a political device for her greater good.
Set a trap for the party.
Yeah, because if she actually cared about it, she would have done it last commission meeting, and she would have put it in there closer to the incident instead of 8 weeks later or whatever it is now.
Or at least been a little more planned out. So this seems like more like a workshopping kind of meeting.
Well, that's what the meeting is. And she's trying, like, again,
Right, something that she could have put on the agenda for the next. Actually, I wonder if it was on the agenda.
That's what it is.
She just brought it up randomly.
That's what the work meeting is. The work meeting is she had submitted it to the agenda, so they're getting together to talk about what's on the agenda. And this ends up becoming the most, at least, fun to talk about from the pundit perspective, because everything else on the agenda is kind of wishy-washy and doesn't really matter. And so logistically, as far as...
At most, she put this on the calendar how long ago?
I mean, it would have had to have been... the meeting was Tuesday? It was probably had to be in last Friday. It's usually it's usually before the weekend of the upcoming agenda is the deadline to put things on the agenda. I don't know exactly what the deadline is. But, I believe I believe that there would have, had it been something that she was deeply passionate about, that she really felt like she needs to. Well, actually, let me back up a second. If all she wanted to do was honor Charley Kirk, she can do that without permission. She can, I guess some permission needs to be granted. She can ask to make a statement before the meeting. And she could say, I would like to take this moment as a commissioner in Knox County to share my condolences and honor Charley Kirk's memory with blah, 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 blah. That, I don't remember what that's called, but they could make a proclamation as an individual on the commission during a commission meeting, so it goes on the record and all that kind of crap.
Right.
But to do this honorific thing, that has to be a voted on thing. And so it's like, if all she wanted was to honor Charley Kirk, then she could do it regardless. But she insists on it being voted on and wanting everybody to vote on it so that, they can do the official county commission at large. The total county commission wants to honor Charley Kirk, not just one commissioner in a commission meeting. Which, to everybody out there, to the public, do you think any normal person knows the difference? Would know the difference between, because Rhonda would likely be the one to read she could read her proclamation as an individual commissioner, or she can read the proclamation of the commission when they vote on it. But I'll bet you she'd be the one to read it either way.
Yeah.
So as far as anybody watching, it looks, sounds, feels exactly the same. It's just, for anybody really, really watching, it puts Larson in a bind, because that can be, it's enough that, and if they make enough stink about it, it can be used for the ends that I think that they're trying to use it for. Because I think come midsummer, early summer, the primary's in May, I think. So come first of the year, when this primary starts getting real hot and they're actually getting active campaigning instead of all this. Because, to be fair, and I'm not trying to defend Larson, because Larson's got his own bit of kind of politicizing his current seat to do some work for his campaign, because he's trying to do this wheel tax removal thing. And the telephone poll thing, I think he's serious about. I don't think that's I don't think he's doing that for any political purposes, other than he thinks it's a serious thing that needs to get taken care of, and I kind of agree with him.
Yeah.
But, there's definitely been a number of little items here or there that have popped up that it's like, well, why didn't you do this wheel tax thing 3 years ago, Larson? Why are you all of a sudden doing it now as your campaign for mayor starts rolling up? It's like, well, obviously, because I want to be the guy that got rid of some taxes for Knox County residents, and I can run on that as a Republican in the primary. I could be like, Betsy Henderson as school board chair didn't do anything to save you from more taxes. I got to get rid of that wheel tax for you guys. Like, I mean, it's a sales pitch. It's a real simple sales pitch, and it probably would work, at least on a decent amount of people. Like, look, I mean, I can prove that I did stuff. Here's the thing that I did. Because when you're knocking on a door and he's giving that pitch to people, they're not going to ask, like, well, when did you do that? Why did you wait 2-3 years of being, 7 years of whatever it is of being on commission before you did that? Why didn't you do it when you first got there?
Right.
Nobody's going to ask that question. They're going to be like, oh, that's cool. Appreciate you saving me that $35 a year on the wheel tax, bro.
Well, you think most people would notice that because you got to renew it every year anyway. Unless you don't pay attention.
Yeah, but I'm just saying,
nobody's
going to. I don't think anybody's going to ask. Right. I don't think anybody's going to ask. I don't think anybody puts it together that the wheel tax is something that the county puts on instead of it being a state thing. But when you say, "Hey, did you notice that your tags are cheaper?" Oh yeah, I did. I really didn't think about it. That was me. That works. That's something knocking on doors that will ring with people. But most people aren't going to really pay attention. They're like, oh. It was $60 last year. Why was it only $45 this year? Or $35 this year, or whatever it changed to. And be like, whatever, moving on. But then when somebody comes along, do you know Larson is the one that got you that tax savings? Larson's a pretty awesome guy. Maybe I should look at this guy. Where else can he save me tax dollars? Because these crazy leftists are spending our money or left and right and blah, 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 blah. And so, I don't know. Like, to me, that there's nobody gives a shit. None of this is anybody giving a shit at all about Charley Kirk. It's using Charley Kirk as a political football to put the mayoral potentials that are on county commission right now in a bind, because they don't want to go on record to vote against it. I don't think they really want to vote for it. I don't know what the political downside of them voting for it is. I don't know. That's the only question I have. Like, is there a real negative to Larson J if he just goes ahead and votes for it? Like, is anybody going to be like, well, I was going to vote for you, Larson, but you honored Charley Kirk. I can't vote for you anymore.
Right.
I don't know if that person exists. There might be some. But, I mean, Larson has definitely tried to pick himself as a middle. Now, I have a little bit further of a tinfoil hat conspiracy on this. Is I think part of Eric's move on getting Rhonda to do this right now is to get conservatives riled up. Some of those conservatives are living in the city and are getting ready to go vote. I think it was an attempt to get some Republican messaging out to people that are thinking about and getting ready to go do their city election too.
Yeah, possibly.
There's a few questions in that I don't know if that's, like, it's a little bit of a stretch in that there are no city candidates that are talking about anything like this, so that there's no like direct like A to B for somebody's mind to go to. The fact that there 4 of the 5 races do have somebody who would consider themselves to be a Republican if this was a partisan event, but nobody knows that per se, unless you know that, because you got to figure that out.
I would say more it might entice people that don't normally vote. All of a sudden they're like, oh, well, I haven't gone the past couple of years. Right, which I need to get out now.
Which has been that's been an argument of Eric's for a while. Is he thinks the city of Knoxville is not as left-leaning as its elections show it to be,
right?
Which at some level is true. I do 1,000% agree with him that District 3 would have been Republican-ish, would have been more Republican-style candidates for multiple cycles now, had the old format of voting not been in place. Had we switched this to this new format of voting, Seema Singh would have never won District 3 for 2 terms if we were in this new format. And I think he's right. I think that's true. We don't know exactly, but it's probably true.
Right.
And so, yes, there is more Republicans in Knoxville than the current city council shows. That will be corrected. I do believe Mr. Lloyd will win District 3, and that will be accurate to the makeup of the city. I think all of your at-larges are always going to be Democrats. Your mayors are always going to be Democrat, progressive, left-leaning, whatever you want to call them. But District 3 is your one Republican district in Knoxville. And I don't see that changing. Not in the short term, at least. And so, like, it's one of those where, like, it's kind of a false positive for Eric. He can claim the win on something, but it's like, that win was already there. You didn't win anything new. If you get a bunch of new people out to vote in the city of Knoxville, probably not going to be Republicans. Because there's some data on it, not for Knoxville in general, but like there's some data on like how much of a percentage of like if you get over, I can't remember what it is, like if it's like it was something like if you can get over like 10 or 12% of your eligible voting population voting consistently, polling shows that that's fairly accurate to if you had 80 or 90%. So anywhere between 10 and 90%, you're probably going to get the same results. Is what the polling showed. It's like if you were to have voted, you would have voted for A, B, or C, and like you break it down, and it's basically like 10 to 15% is a relatively good enough sample size for a municipality to say that this is accurate for our greater demographic.
Right.
And so if that is a statistical truism, then the city of Knoxville is a left-leaning progressive city. Period. Except for District 3, which is a more centrist, slightly right of center District 3. And it's been that way for a long time. And will continue to be that way. I think the more interesting thing on this city race realistically is this tax thing, because there are some serious big money people who are generally speaking big money donors to Republican parties and Republican candidates who have been donating some serious cash to this single issue committee to try to get the tax passed. Randy Boyd being a big one, a couple of other developers in town being some big ones, like big dollars. Like one individual and or company did like $50,000. Like I said, they collected a total of like 150, 200, like in the 200, like just short of 200,000.
Yeah,
quarter of it, give or take, was one guy.
Right, which isn't unheard of.
Well, and especially that one guy is a developer of some sort. So that one guy is likely to be the guy that's out there trying to get the contracts for the spends that are about to happen with this stuff, if it passes. Which totally makes sense. I mean, I get it. Not even in a corrupt way, but in a like, well, if the city's going to start shelling out $50 million more dollars a year for projects, and I've done work for the city before, I'm certainly going to get some of them. I might not get all of them. But how many projects do I need to get? 250
in profit.
Do it.
Spend 50 to get 250 in profit.
How many projects do I need to get my $50,000 back? Not that I'm going to get them before somebody else because I donated. That's not what I'm saying. Right. I'm just going to get them because I'm one of the people.
There's a bigger pool of potential projects.
I'm one of the people that has the capability to do those contracts, and I will get some of those contracts because I do those contracts, not because I paid for like that. It wasn't not because I corruptly did it.
Right.
But even if I didn't donate to this, I would get some of those contracts because I'm that guy. Whatever. But it's weird because you also then have the Knox County GOP, who has a multi-issue PAC that they set up so they don't have to disclose who has donated to them. And they are truly a multi-issue PAC, but they are running against the sales tax increase. But it's weird because it is likely. It is mathematically likely. I'm not saying Randy Boyd specifically, but somebody like a Randy Boyd who generally consistently donates to Republican candidates as well as the Republican Party in Knox County, that the Republican Party in Knox County took some of Randy Boyd's money and put it into their PAC that is running against the sales tax, while Randy Boyd is putting his money directly into a PAC that is running for the sales tax.
No.
It is very likely, and again, Randy Boyd's just an example. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there to make it more understandable, not that I know this to be true or not. But there is likely that there are individuals who have spent money on the tax increase PAC, who spent money on Knox County Republican Party, who their money is fighting against itself on this issue in the marketing airwaves that's happening right now, which I find hilarious. But that PAC is also actively at work supporting a handful of these city candidates. Mr. Tallman from Dandridge, of course, being, I believe, his most recent campaign finance filing showed that the Knox County Republican Party had donated $5,000 to his campaign. They donated a couple $1,000s around to the other races, but his was the top of the set, I think. Maybe, I don't remember. Because I do think truly functionally, District 4 would be the next one that could possibly slide to the more right-leaning candidate. District 3 is definitely a right-leaning win. District 4 is the next one that has the potential of. And they're running some nasty. I don't know if you've seen any of this stuff that the Republican, this new Republican multi-issue PAC ran a flyer about DeBartlebaden, which is pretty stinky. Like, it was rough. Like, basically, like it gave a list of places he's lived, and they're all bad.
For what reason?
They're all bad liberal cities.
Okay.
Seattle, Miami. He lived in Shanghai, China.
You lived in major cities? Wow.
And you want to know
Lived
what?
in Miami?
You know what's something fun and interesting from the right?
I'll vacation there, but I never lived there.
From the Christian conservative right. You know what? The reason why he's moved around a bunch? Ministry. Like, he was like, he lived in Chicago. That's because that's a terrible city to live in. You know why I lived in Chicago? Because he was the chaplain for the Chicago Bears for like 3 seasons. Whatever his Shanghai thing was, like, he was working ministry church stuff at a church monastery, whatever the F it was in China.
Right.
That's why he was in China. He was doing God's work. Now, you can agree with God's work or not God's work, whatever, but like the Christian conservative is getting real mad at this hippie preacher, basically, is what he kind of presents as. And so, you know, but like, apparently he had a bankruptcy a couple years back, which, whatever, people go through bankruptcies, it happens. But like, it's really funny if you're going to make a residency argument, like places this guy has lived, when the candidate that's running against him doesn't even live in the city of Knoxville. He lives in Dandridge. But we're not talking
we
about
talked
that.
about that has like a property in town or something.
Yeah.
Or he was.
And I mean, to be
in
fair,
in the process of remodeling.
right? But he's been remodeling for like a decade.
Yeah.
But there is active work going on right now, and by the state requirements and stuff like that, he is showing that he has intent. And other than him saying it, we can't prove he doesn't intend to actually move in there. But there is work being done. He's building a duplex. One half of the duplex is supposed to be for his mother or mother-in-law. The other half of the duplex, him and his wife are going to live in. They live in his wife's house in Dandridge right now. That's my understanding of the totality of the story. But he has been in Dandridge for years working on this project. To the point where the election commission had to hold a hearing and vote on it. And it was a 3-2 vote of the 5 election commissioners on whether or not he could legitimately run for this seat. I don't know if your candidate that you're going for has some residency questions. Maybe not bringing the other candidates' residency issues to light is the best, most fruitful way to get what you want out of it.
Yeah, but it forces him to have to respond to it, and it's one less thing he gets to campaign about because he's got to send out a flyer trying to push back against it or whatever.
So there's 2 parts of it. I don't know who the news group was, but one of the news stations was doing an interview with DeBartlebaden in reaction to this in the holler, and I happened to be down there and I saw him doing it. And so I just kind of walked over there. I didn't photobomb his interview, but I definitely interrupted it. I stood behind whoever the journalist was, and just kind of waited for a pause. And I was like, "Hey, Matt, where do you live?" "I live right here in Happy Holler." "How long have you lived here?" "A couple years." "Cool." Then walked off. I was more making the joke about he lives here, Tallman doesn't,
right?
Because I actually hadn't heard about this flyer part yet. But it's like, whatever. Like, the other complaint from the flyer was like, he doesn't own land in Knoxville. He rents his house.
No.
For shame. You're not part of the landed gentry. You don't get to run for office. I don't know. I don't really care. I haven't talked to, like, I've met Matt, and I've talked to him a couple times. I've met Mr. Tallman. I've spoken to him in passing a time or 2 in my days, but I don't know the man per se. I don't know either of these guys per se. But there's a lot of stuff that doesn't feel right about the Tallman part to me. I don't like the residency issue for him. It doesn't make any sense. Like, you don't fucking live here. You don't. What are we talking about? I'm going to live here eventually. Okay. Well, I might move to Texas next year. Does that mean I get to run for Texas governor? No. Who cares? Knock it off. Move here and then run for the city council seat. I don't care. Put a bed on the floor of the house that you're doing renovation work on and sleep there for at least like 3 nights a week, and we'll call it close enough.
Right. 4 out of 7.
Yeah, at least half the time. Sleep on the floor there 3 times, at your wife's house 2 or 3 times, and then crash on a buddy's couch in town a couple times a week. Give me something that's a little bit more realistic than an hour drive in and saying you're from Knoxville. Like, that's like I tell people I'm from Milwaukee all the time because it's easier than trying to explain where Racine is. But I wouldn't try to run for mayor of Milwaukee when I'm living in Racine.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense. So Yeah, that thing that I don't know. I'm flabbergasted by the whole I don't know. It was a surprising it was a nasty. It was just a mean one. Like it was more meaner nasty because like usually it's like they're making some rhino argument or something like that. Like they're black and white photos of the people and they're like they did this thing, but usually it's like some reference of a quote they've made or something like that. They just made it out to look like he was like some vagabond that was skipping town when everything's got tough and leaving a wake of misery behind him. And it's like, well, yes, it's accurate that he moved from A to B, but there's no evidence and there's nothing to show that he destroyed half of Miami and then left.
All right.
It's like, but you really positioned it that way. So anyway, those guys can suck it. But I don't know. What else we got here? The other one for me that was big for me this week, and this was today, which maybe was the best thing that happened on the internet. Knox News op-ed column. There was submitted and there was a submit from a Kirk Wolf as a guest columnist into their op-ed column, to which he argues that UT needs to drop Rocky Top because it is glorifying of violence against the feds, which I guess technically it is, because it's about moonshine and whatnot. And
yeah, how many people actually know the lyrics to it?
Everybody. Do they understand them? Probably not. But do they know most of the words? Yeah, probably.
Think so? Yeah.
I could probably sing it top to bottom for you right now if you want. Wish that I was on old Rocky Top, down in the Tennessee hills. Ain't no small gear smoke on Rocky Top. Ain't no telephone bills. I don't think I can get past this first verse. Once I had a girl on Rocky Top, half bear, the other half cat. Bestiality, that's something that the conservatives should hate on. Something sweet as soda pop. I still dream about that. Rocky Top, I don't know. I would have to think about it. I could probably get through the second verse. It'd take me a minute.
I think most times the people sing it, they probably sing a verse.
Right.
Like nobody sing the whole song.
But the university. So the point of his is the University of Tennessee, as a public institution and an arm of the state government, should not advocate or celebrate violence against law enforcement. That seems like a basic statement, yet its execution may prove controversial. Bill Lee, along with UT System President Boyd, campaigned for office to support law enforcement. They both backed the blue, and they have taken no action as more than 100,000 UT fans sing a song 40 to 50 times a game, led by the Pride of the Southland Band, which celebrates the murder of law enforcement agents. Rocky Top, the unofficial fight song of UT, relatively recent vintage, has the following verse. Once two strangers climbed old Rocky Top, looking for moonshine still. I did know that. Strangers ain't come down from Rocky Top. Reckon they never will. The strangers in reference are G-Men from Prohibition era moonshine running stuff.
Right.
I do remember all that. It took me a second. Yeah. So anyway, apparently upon some expert journalisming by my friend Jesse Mayshark, pretty sure this guy is trolling. Like he doesn't. He holds it well. But we're pretty sure this is not. He's not actually advocating for this. He is just making the joke of how ridiculous we have become as a nation. But like it's good. Like it's good. Did you read it? Did you get to read the whole thing?
Yeah.
Like it's well done, and like much like you, where you'll hold on to the tone past the point where people are very confused. Like I always feel like your favorite part of the joke is the part where people are trying to figure out if it's a joke or not. Because you like to say it nice and flat. And everybody looks at you, it's like, is he serious or is he making a joke? That's that's the feel I got from this guy.
Sarcasm's hard to pull off sometimes.
Yeah, but he probably, I think he nailed it, and I think the fact that we're discussing whether or not it's real is how well he nailed it. To me.
Yeah.
Which is awesome, but apparently, like this guy's like actively like does a lot of stuff like not a lot of stuff like this. But
I had to get a sarcastic tone of it. It did seem a bit over the top.
Yeah,
I'm like, this person's either super passionate or I didn't really think of an or.
Yeah, I mean this is a poke at this is a poke at like cancel cult, like the new rights cancel culture is what this is a poke at. People whom celebrated Charley Kirk's death were to get, canceled from polite society kind of stuff. Well, if you think that somebody should lose their job, I mean, and again, Randy Boyd being an example, they were in the process of firing a tenured professor because they had a somewhat celebratory response on Twitter to Charley Kirk's death, and they're firing this person from the university. Well, if you're that serious about people not doing whatever, like, what are we talking about here? Like, we've all sang that song 10,000 times,
right,
or more. I think I've gotten through it 10,000 times in a season.
The whole song, though?
Singing? Well, we only sang the first verse in the band.
That's what I was about to say, especially when they talk about it. It's sung 50 times at a game. I'm like, well, they're not singing the whole song either.
I haven't think about it.
And I'd say at least half of the people are like,
woo, wherever the woo goes, that's where everybody knows the right word. Everybody knows that one word. But anyway, I love it.
That's where it all comes in. Rock stop!
Good on you, Mr. Wolf. Everybody should read this wonderful op-ed that he had submitted and was printed by Knoxville News Sentinel. I'm curious what the op-ed editor was thinking when he printed it. Like, did he think this guy was serious? Or did he think it was a joke? It's a weird joke for the News Sentinel to let out there, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So there's a lot of parts and pieces to it that I think are fantastic. But anyway, the Troll of the Year award for me so far at least goes to this guy for this op-ed.
That is poignant at this time. I mean, we're in the middle of football season.
Yeah, but like I said, I think it's a great poke at Governor Lee. It's a great poke at Randy Boyd. It's a great poke at, like, what are we doing here, people? Like, if you're the back the blue, great things, and you've got to shut people up that say bad things about the government. Yet, we do this over and over and over again. It's like, oh, I'm not disagreeing with you that less people than I'm assuming probably actually know it, and I'm sure that even a handful of people that know all the words don't know that is a reference. The original song, that is a reference to, the.
Yeah, I'm bad about that. There's a lot of songs that I know the words to and never really thought about the meaning.
Yeah, I remember like when I got super into Rage Against the Machine, like reading there was a phase there where I was reading when they put the lyrics in the CD jacket, I'd read along with them, and there was a couple, like I remember looking up a few words in the dictionary a few times from it, feeling super smart.
Yeah.
I did some research on some stuff from Rage Against the Machine on some stories. Like I didn't know the Weatherman, the Weather Underground. I didn't know what that was as a high schooler.
Familiar, yeah.
I know what it is now. I knew what it was. I've heard references to it, and I'm glad I learned what that was from Rage Against the Machine when I was in high school. So that references that I've learned that I've heard from college and since, I understood it instead of being like, oh no, like Todd whatever from Channel 10, the weather guy. Like I'm glad I knew what it was and didn't make myself an asshole in a conversation because I had no idea that was a whole violent.
They blew up police stations in New York.
They did a lot. They did good. They had a pretty good run of some violent protests too during the civil rights era. And so, anyway, and then like one of the guys just got out too. I think one of the guys just got paroled. And I think it was like Trump was floating of revoking his parole or something like that. I can't remember what it was. It was something stupid out of Trump's mouth about it. But there's this really cool interview that Ryan Grimm did over the summer when he happened to be in Ireland, and this lady who was running for president of Ireland, who was the polling's looking like she's going to win. I think the election was tonight. The actual Irish presidential election was going on to Friday, the 24th, so it's probably wrapped up. We could probably know who won now, but like it was this interview that he did with her over the summer that he happened to be there, and she had a great line in there that I think is a super important line. Like it's like democratic republics, democracies do not work without dissent. We have to embrace dissent. You don't have to agree, but you have to be on board with dissent. You have to let open dissent. You have to accept protest. You have to listen. And as soon as you stop listening, then your democracy is dead.
Yeah.
And so it's like fighting democracy. There's all this fighting democracy arguments we've had from both sides over the last 5 years or whatever, since Trump came on the scene, if you want to put it that way. Has been, it's been about shutting down dissent instead of working it out, like compromise. Like compromise is a real thing. Do we do that anymore?
Not really.
No, we don't. So anyway, Kirk Wolf, everybody look it up. Knoxville News Sentinel op-ed page. Back the Blue, Tennessee. Retire Rocky Top opinion piece. Way to go, Kirk, with your wonderful, wonderful, wonderful satire. I appreciate you. What else happened? The early voting stuff and the little bit of the campaign finance stuff. Oh, Farragut's floating a new ordinance they're going to try, which is going to like do some pretty significant regulation to working from home. Like they basically have created 2 tiers of business. Basically, if your business involves other people coming to your office, you have to get a permit. Like to do this, I would have to have a permit from the city, from the township, of Farragut. If I lived in the Farragut township limits, I would have to have a permit to run my podcast out of my house.
Just if you're running a business that's located at your residence.
Now, full disclosure, well, yes, this one, because it's part of the greater business. But in our first couple of years when we weren't actually a legal business entity yet, then I guess they probably would have had no grounds. But like literally, like trying to like some of it's trying to like limit deliveries. And it's like more than normal. Like it's a really weird, vague language, which basically says if your neighbors pitch enough of a fit, we might come talk to you about how many deliveries you're getting. It's like I don't control Amazon's delivery methods.
Right.
I can order 5 things, and then sometimes they'll bring it on 5 trucks, sometimes they'll bring it on 1. I don't know.
I like shop.
Yeah. Well, it's like, does DoorDash count? Like if I get my groceries dashed to my house, does that count as delivery?
Well, just about everything you can have brought to your house now.
That's what I'm saying.
A lot of the grocery stores have delivery service now. Walmart's had it for a little while.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be weird, like, but like, right. I can have 10 million boxes delivered to my house as long as they're not for work, which seems like a weirdism. But like, how many people are parking in your driveway to do business in your house? They can limit the number of professional guests that come onto your property. Seems really gross to me. I get it on some level, like that. I do, but I don't.
My immediate thought was like UPS, local like UPS and FedEx contractors were complaining about like excessive business stuff going to residential areas.
Hell no, they're making money. That's what they want.
Right.
The more packages they move, the more money they make. No, this is neighbors that are tired of like, oh, well, I'm trying to sit in my yard and enjoy the peace and quiet, and every 35 seconds a UPS truck comes and delivers something to that guy's house. And I got to deal with it. Okay, man.
Put up a privacy fence, bro.
Privacy fence, nice big shrubby bushes. Or hey, call your friend Eric Wider, and he'll get you hooked up with 1-800-U-Haul. Because Eric Wider is on the same page with you. He thinks you should be able to tell your neighbors what they can do with their lives. So call that guy. He can help you out. I really resent that 1-800-U-Haul thing he says every once in a while. I really resent. Because it's really easy to use the more I think about it. Like if you don't like something, Eric, if you don't like that one of your candidates is going to win city races, move out. But he's not a city resident, which is that's hard to make that play there. But hey, that apartment complex that went in up the street from you, Eric, if you don't like it being there, 1-800-U-Haul, buddy. The solution is to move. Going back in time for a second, the other item on the county agenda meeting that kind of got some stank was Andy Fox's continuing his push on basically he's going to try to require a sworn affidavit from nonprofits accepting any tax funding from this from Knox County to swear that no cent of any money that they take in from the county, at least, would go to an individual that is not a legal resident of the United States.
I did see that. I thought that was already like an approved ordinance or something like that.
No, they're still working on it.
State legislation.
I mean, it's impossible. Depending on what you do, like as a nonprofit, like Knox County Schools, they take county money there are absolutely students in Knox County schools who are not documented American citizens. Because as of right now, at least, the Supreme Court says public schools have to accept all students regardless of immigration status. Period. Full stop. And there are absolutely non-naturalized citizens who live in Knox County that go to Knox County.
I think it's also as like undocumented, which I guess at that point for the children, like it'd only be like the parents that would be documented if they're going through the visa process.
It depends on the kid. Like if the family came over, if the mom and the kid came over and the kid was already born when they came over, that is undocumented.
No, I'm wondering how the visa process works. Like obviously the parents that need to work, etc., are going to have a visa applications, but I don't know how minors work into that.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, when people show up for the immigration meeting, you know, it's usually adults, but I don't really know how that works with minor.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. Like when you're brought here versus when you're born. Like if you're born here, you're a born citizen. It doesn't matter where where your parents are from.
For now, some people are trying to cancel that.
It's fucking dumb. I mean, I don't know. Like it's not. It isn't. Like I get it. Like the anchor baby game is kind of shitty. Like you can't. Like well, one, it's like it's all a result of our terrible immigration system. But you know, there is a system in place. The system doesn't work for you, so you do a workaround by having a baby here because they're not going to take you from they're not going to deport you and leave your kid here, and they can't. Well, at this point, they probably could just deport the non-U.S. They're the U.S. citizen baby because they've done that kind of shit. We're randomly murdering Venezuelans right now, which is cool, I guess, right?
Allegedly.
No, it's not allegedly. It's fact. They're Venezuelans. They're not denying. They're saying there's Venezuelans on the thing. Are they drug dealers? Are they moving drugs?
There's a couple guys that they caught. I can't remember. I don't think
and they sent them back.
Right.
Why would you send them
one
back?
One of them's already been released by their home country. I can't remember what Central American country that was.
Well, why would you send them back? Why wouldn't you bring them to the United States to stand trial for illegally importing drugs in the United States?
Well, they do like the other ones they find here. They send them off to some random third-party country.
Yeah, that's what Gitmo's for. Let's get Gitmo back up and running. Obama, you jackass.
It's not shut down.
I know.
There's still people there.
I know. Obama tried to shut it down. I don't remember what all happened.
Well, at one point, Trump was trying to send a bunch more down there, but I don't think the facilities are quite ready for it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, this Venezuela thing scares the grabby. I don't know. I feel like every time I start to like, every time my blood pressure comes down after some near war thing that Trump almost gets us into, like, as soon as I start to be like, okay, whew, we didn't go to war. We didn't go to a real war with Iran. Thank goodness. Let me wipe my brow. And before I finished my swipe, we're starting some other bullshit.
Yeah. I didn't see the original story, but I saw some correction like a day or two ago about some kind of plane flying over Venezuela or near Venezuela. And they're like, no, that wasn't true. But then I swear I saw one today that there was like a B-2 bomber.
Yeah, we got more than one. We got B-2s flying around within like 50 miles of their airspace.
What they call it, a strike carrier or whatever. That's been
carrier group, yeah.
Carrier group, yeah.
I mean, it's like, but like, I mean, apparently, like in real time, like I didn't catch this whole thing, but the story basically was that like somebody in the press corps had asked Trump if we had B-2s down there. He's like, no, why would we have B-2s down there? And literally, there was an article that had just released from New York Times or something like that, documenting from the Pentagon that they had sent B-2s down there.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, to be fair to Trump, like, he may not have known that they'd sent B-2 specifically. But, I mean, I don't know. What are we doing? Like, what do we care about Venezuela? What's going on?
I think there's been a little pushback about basically this being a semi-undeclared war. Because I guess it goes back to, like, you know, the kind of, like, 9/11 war powers of designating people as a terrorist group.
Post 9/11, we have permissioned the idea that you could have war on an idea. Now, to be fair, the war on drugs has been going on a lot longer than the war on terror. But the war on terror turned using the phrase war on as actively warlike instead of the war on drugs was supposed to be like, you know, policing and, you know, enforcement. But it's also, the war on drugs was also supposed to be like the rehab and helping people make life choices that are better and keeping people off drugs, and the DARE program and all the other crap was the war on drugs.
Yeah.
But then we got this war on terror thing where, oh, this is active, like we're going out and killing people war on thing. And so Trump basically my take on it at least is the Trump administration says, well, when my War Department, because I got rid of that stupid Secretary of Defense name, it's my Secretary of War. When I send my Secretary of War out to do war on a thing, we're doing war on the thing. Now, we've always been doing the war on drugs, so we're doing the war on the thing. Even though there is zero evidence that any fentanyl, at least, comes out of Venezuela ever. It all comes
other drugs do.
It all comes from China and Mexico. But they keep saying it. They keep saying, for every one of these boats we blow up, 50,000 Americans aren't going to die from fentanyl overdose. It's like, you're right, because they weren't going to die from that anyway, from that boat. They're going to die from the fentanyl overdose anyway because it's coming in from Mexico and China like it always has been.
I mean, is there any level of drug crime that's considered a capital offense?
I mean, yeah, maybe
you can get the death penalty for essentially, or life imprisonment.
I get where you're going. I'm sure there's some level of top level crime syndicate that's killed a bunch of people and murdered cops and done all that kind of stuff as part of your RICO case that gets you to a death penalty. Maybe is smuggling drugs a capital offense? No, I don't think so.
I think there's been cases where you can prove that the dealer themselves either knew it was a poison batch or something and sold it to someone, that person overdosed and died I think it's
a murder case anyway. I think I think you deal somebody the heroin and it's good clean heroin, but they kill themselves with it. I think it's still a murder case. I think it's still a murder charge anyway. Is it?
I don't know.
I mean, it's certainly like a manslaughter or an incidental. I don't know. It's certainly something. I don't think. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's an additional charge when they catch you, and whichever one sticks is the one that gets you in jail. So they're going to add it.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. This is just craziness. What are we doing? The Maduro guy apparently said, "You can have whatever you want, man. And I'll give you everything." And Trump said, "Hey, yeah, he told me to give me everything, but that's not enough." So we really just want to kill this guy.
That's some of the stories that I've read. Essentially, it's trying to get him out of power.
It's Marco Rubio and this Southern Florida cabal of people who hate Cuba, hate Venezuela, hate any of the subset that's within that, and they figured out how to use Trump to get this end that they've been working on for a decade plus.
I thought it was crazy, and I can only assume it was meant to destabilize kind of the country or whatever, but we vocally came out and said that we're now doing covert CIA operations in the country.
Well, I mean,
I think that's kind of putting our agents in danger there. If you're going to tell everyone that, hey.
Right, 100%. Hey, be on the lookout. Our guys are going to come try to kill you.
It's not really covert anymore. This is now overt.
Well, the one to me that's so ridiculous about this whole conversation is, okay, Mr. Trump, we are actively on this mass deportation game, right? We have this mass deportation thing that everybody's really upset about because it's really ugly. It's really gross. People are not really pleased with the way this is going. And so what you're going to do is you're going to overthrow a mayor, I don't know the legitimacy of the election that this guy won his seat and however he got there, whatever. I don't know. But you're going to overthrow some guy in a country where a lot of these immigrants that you're trying to kick out came from. You know what's going to happen? Because it always happens when we have some regime change action, whether it's ours involved or somebody else. You make a bunch of refugees that get the F out of the country that this war and craziness is happening in. And where do you think they're going to go? There's going to be another, what was the caravan of migrants thing that we had during the Biden administration. It's going to legitimately happen of people getting the fuck out of Venezuela because we're going to topple the Maduro government and chaos will reign for a while and all these gangs and warlords will be trying to battle for control of the country for the next 5, 10, 15 years or whatever. And anybody with a nickel in their pocket is going to get the fuck out and start walking their happy ass up to here. That's what's going to happen. So if your goal is to get migrants out of this country, make less fucking migrants. That's a start.
That's one of the programs that we had was more trying to stabilize those countries to make it less likely that people want to leave their home country.
Right. And I mean, I think, and I think that's the thing. I think on the fentanyl thing too, it's like, we need a better relationship with Mexico. We need to figure this out. Like, okay, Mexico, we have this NAFTA thing and we have like this free trade and we're trying to get the commerce and economics thing going. You got to help us out here, people. You can't just have anybody coming across your southern border, because once they get into your country, we don't really have many options to stop them from coming into ours. Them as people or them as drugs. I mean, all of the fentanyl, all the heroin, all the cocaine comes through the Mexican border on a fucking truck.
Right, that's about to say most of it's ports of entry.
Right, but it's all through Mexico. But it all comes into Mexico. It's either created in Mexico, the components are sent into Mexico, and then the finished product's made in Mexico, or it's just straight up shipped to Mexico and then changed from the whatever got to Mexico into something else, and then driven across the border because we have our trade relations system with them. That's just like, hey, bring it on. That's just the way it goes. And then, like, every once in a while, they'll send a boat to Canada and have one truck come across from Canada. But for the most part, that's the system that we have allowed to be in play because we insist on our relations with Mexico. And it's like, okay, I don't know. Maybe we need to figure something out and maybe partner up with Mexico. Be like, hey, we've got some things. We like to kill people. Can we help you kill some people to clean this up? We'll lend you some of our killer guys. We like mercenaries. You like mercenaries? We got some stuff. We can figure this out. I don't know what the correct answer is, but like destroying the Venezuela, any sort of leadership regime that's in Venezuela right now doesn't seem like a solution that makes any fucking sense to me. Especially when he told you he'd give you everything. Then okay, go send Exxon down there to pump all the oil out of Venezuela and whatever else they have that's worth stealing from them in natural goods. But leave this poor guy in power. Because it's going to be a more stable nation and we're going to have less migrants running away from that place because it's a semi-stable nation. It's crazy to me. Like, it's I don't know. Obviously, if you've ever listened to any shows and any of me talking at all, I'm obviously not an expert in geopolitical affairs. But I feel like this one's kind of self-evident.
I don't really know what the end game is.
Oh, there is no end game, but we might take. But like even that though, it's like, but like take 30 minutes to go read through some history. You know how many Vietnamese people lived in the United States in the 50s? You know how many migrated to the United States in the 60s, 70s, and 80s?
Right.
Like it was probably I don't know this. I'm just guessing, but I would say less than 1% of the U.S. population pre-Vietnam War, and it probably tenfold was the number. And it's like, I have my own personal issues with some Vietnamese people that I know personally. I don't hate Vietnamese people. I like to pretend like I hate Vietnamese people. I just hate a couple. Most amazing, heartbreaking story you're ever going to hear in your life if you get one of them drunk and they tell you how they got out. Crazy story.
Right.
And rightfully so. Why wouldn't you? Like, and at some level, we went over there and contributed to this mess, and at minimum, we owe you a place to stay over here when you get here. I think that's a fair trade for what the fuck we did over there for no good reason. And so I'm not mad at it in that sense, but it's like, you know, I remember it being one of the things that like was off-putting. Off-putting is not the right word. Like I remember my dad mentioning something along the lines of like, and I think this was Iraq when we started doing Iraq stuff, and he said something along the lines of, and I apologize, Dad, I'm not trying to throw you under the bus on this, but it was something along the lines of, like, oh, great, we're going to get a bunch of Middle Eastern people moving into this country now. And at the time, I didn't get it. Because at the time, I was like, that's pretty fucking racist, Dad. Holy shit. But then learning things and understanding the Vietnam, which my dad went to Vietnam, you know, and like it's been a standard. It's a very standard procedure. It's like if we go and invade and fuck a bunch of shit up, the next decade is going to be a lot of people from wherever that place is immigrating here. And it's like I don't know that I wouldn't say that my dad's xenophobic and he doesn't want any outsiders coming into here, but when we already have an immigration issue, and then we go and put forth a program in some foreign land that's going to create more immigrants that want to come here, and we don't have the means to handle what we're already doing, it doesn't seem like wise geopolitical moves on our own part. And I think that's what my dad was after. It wasn't that he has an issue with Afghanis or Iraqis or Vietnamese people for that matter. It's that we're going to go destroy another nation, and the people that live there are going to run from that place because they don't want to fucking die. And if they do get out, everything's destroyed, so there's nothing to go back to. Where are they going to go? They're going to come here. It's like, well, if you already have an immigration issue, why are we going to do something that's going to invite more people here? I mean, hell, we keep going down this rabbit hole. I'm going to be surprised. Wouldn't be surprised if we have 1 million Gazans that move in the United States over the next couple of years. There's going to be some bleeding heart thing that gets into play here. It's like, okay, well, here's the solution, everybody. Send them all to America. We can build the Gaza Riviera, or whatever the fucking stupid thing Trump wants to do with Witkoff and those guys. We can build that Riviera, and the Gazans will be happy because now they get to live in the United States. And it's like, okay.
I remember he floated the idea to like a couple African countries to try to take them in. And
right, Egypt doesn't want them.
Like 1.5 million people, no.
Yeah, Egypt doesn't want them. The Saudis don't want them. Qatar doesn't want them. Nobody over there. And it's not, it's interesting, but it's not, like, it's a weird political, it's where the religion and the political of the Middle East kind of run together. Because, like, the Saudis don't give a fuck about Gaza. The Saudi royal family, at least. Like, the Saudi population does because they're all Muslim. And so the Saudi population's like, yeah, we need to help our Muslim brothers. And the Saudi royal family's like, do we have to? Okay. But they're not coming.
What if we hold peace talks here and we'll do that?
Right. It's so gross. The whole fucking thing's gross. Like, what do we do? I don't know. Again, like, it's like, to continue to make fun of myself, I am an idiot. And I'm pretty sure I know better. So what does that say about the rest of us who voted for these idiots who are dumber than me?
I was actually kind of surprised I saw that Vance, I think, just came back from Israel, but was pushing back. Is the Knesset, or however you say it, it's like their parliament. Say it again? Knesset?
Knesset is how I've always heard it.
Yeah, but apparently they did it. It wasn't really an official, but it was some kind of like symbolic.
Oh, yeah, they voted to finish the annexation of the West Bank.
Yeah, to annex it, yeah.
While Vance was there.
Yeah. I was surprised he actually pushed back on it.
And he's there actively trying to keep this 20-point Trump peace accord with Gaza in line, which every blink of an eye, Israel's trying to figure out how to blame Hamas for breaking the
I think there's already been a couple like little mini breaches. I thought I've read about a couple attacks. I could be wrong. From either side. I know there was some where there was like I want to say right now in the West Bank, or not in the West Bank, in Gaza, like Hamas is basically running police, but I think they supposedly like attacked a bunch of like Gazan gangs. So it wasn't attacks against Israel, but they I guess were basically killing some of their own people for gang reasons. Which
I'm pretty sure that was the one that Trump said he was cool with.
Was it?
Yeah. Because
I'm waiting for some kind of breach. Or
there's a couple of there were a couple of different takes on that one. Is that they were collaborators, and so they were Palestinian gangs that were working with the IDF.
Okay, I think I did read that. Yeah.
And so from the Israeli standpoint, they were killing their friends, their teammates. But from Hamas's standpoint, as the government at large, I guess. I mean, they're not really, but they are the governing body for Gaza. They have been for a long time. They were elected as such, and then they stopped doing elections. But that's a whole separate thing. You know, I mean, that's the problem. It's like there's how do we word this? You have a starved, destroyed nation with what they started with, like 2.2 million. I don't know what we think's left, realistically, of starving people.
I think they just cut off aid again.
Yeah, who Israel keeps cutting off aid and not permitting aid to go in, and there's all this back and forth about the aid thing. And what happens? Okay, there's no power structure because Israel said Gaza has to disarm. Who are the local police? Who are stopping the looting and the stealing and the rape and all the other kind of terrible crap that people do when shit gets hard?
Right.
Like who's in charge of that? Right now it's Hamas. It's been Hamas for the last long bit of time. And you want Hamas to disarm? They said, well, we'll give you our missiles and stuff, but we're keeping our pistols and our rifles because we're going to have to patrol the streets. Not to fight you guys, but we're going to have to patrol the streets because these people are starving and they're killing each other and they're doing everything they can to stay alive. And we got to figure out how to keep this as peaceably done as possible. It's crazy. And what's really crazy about it is that let's go back to October 6th of last year. 2 years ago.
2 years.
2 years ago?
Yeah.
So 2 years and 15 days ago or whatever, before this weird attack, other than 500,000-ish people probably died between the two countries. If this peace plan comes through-ish, kind of as written, if we can get there, more or less nothing changed. Like, realistically, Palestine's still a sub-political entity within Greater Israel. Like, I still don't understand what I still don't understand what Palestine is in the governmental sense of things. They're not their own state. They're not part of Israel, but they are.
They just kind of have like official, unofficial borders or areas that are
right. And so it's like
heavily patrolled, heavily walled off.
Right. But Netanyahu and the Israeli government refused the idea of a two-state solution. They also refused the idea of a one-state solution with any sort of equal rights, because if they go to a one-state solution, it'll be a Muslim majority. There are more Palestinians than there are Israelis. Or, well, maybe not anymore. But I don't think... I think the total population of Israel proper... Now, Israeli citizenship is weird, too, because you can do all sorts of weird dual citizenship. Like, if you can... like, they changed it recently, because it used to be, like, if you are Jewish and you were born anywhere in the world, like my guy Dave Smith, I don't think that's his real last name, now that I think about it, but Dave Smith was born Jewish, whatever, grew up in a Jewish family, that whole thing. There's just some paperwork. He's never been in his life, but he can fill out some paperwork and he can get an Israeli passport because he is Jewish, because his dad is Jewish. But it used to only have to be. It used to have to be on the dad's side when they had these interminglings of Jews and Gentile things. But they've changed that to if your mom or dad's Jewish, it doesn't have to be both, one or the other. It's just like a basic form paperwork thing, and you can be an Israeli citizen and live your entire life in California or New York in Dave's case. It's crazy. Like, it's a really neat, like, that's like, this Israeli conflict's been really neat with that show because his co-host is this guy Robbie Bernstein. Guess where his family's from? And apparently, Robbie, when he was a teenager, like, he was like full on in the rabbi scholarship program. Like, he was reading the scrolls and doing all that stuff and spent a bunch of time over there. Another one that's fun is God, what's his name? I just blanked out. There's another comedian who was like, I don't think he'd quite finished the whole process. I don't understand what the whole process is, but he was like way deep into it. Like, he could read the Torah in Hebrew and translate all the parts and pieces, like knew all the different stuff you're supposed to know by memory and all that kind of crap. And then he got out and now makes fun of everybody all the time. He's a comedian. Blanked out on his name. Anyway, it's been really, like, that part's really interesting because you get into some of the weird isms of, like, the religious subtext or whatever. But anyway, yeah, I don't, like, what did we accomplish with any of this? Now, we is a relative term because of how much we're involved, quote unquote. But, yeah, this is crazy. Especially because you got the Witkoff family. Apparently the Witkoff company, like, it's actually the Witkoff company or Witkoff Inc. or something like that, who's got a whole bunch of money tied up in a whole bunch of stuff in the Middle East with the Saudis. Like, it seems to me from some of the different reporting that's been done on it between Witkoff and Kushner, those two specifically, is the Saudis and the Qataris, and those that like this is more based on Witkoff and Kushner's and at some level Trump's like development dealings than it is about actual like international geopolitical policy.
Yeah, I think it was a little something on that. That was one thing that kind of helped broker this ceasefire.
Yeah.
Or to bring some of the other kind of Arab nations together.
Yeah. But again, going back to the point, I think the just functional administration of a nation-ish thing, whatever. Again, not knowing what to call Gaza as in a political sense, but like just the general like infrastructure, day-to-day existence.
I want to say they have a UN representative.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But like whoever's going to administer that, like in the bureaucracy that is needed to have some sort of government in play and some sort of law enforcement out there doing law enforcement stuff and social services and all the things that need to be done. Who's going to do it?
I think they're trying to get a couple third-party people. I want to say we even have like 100 U.S. soldiers at some kind of base in Israel.
Yeah.
Doing something.
Some kind of checkpoint thingy. I've heard something about that. It was weird.
I think I read about some British soldiers coming in to help either kind of police or kind of be some kind of security, kind of like a UN peace force type of thing.
Yeah. Well, we're just going to let's see what happens when a couple of white people die. It's going to get real crazy.
I don't know. It still just seems really crazy. We're just bombing random boats. It's like, all right, if you know they're there, and they just. Well, I guess it's harder to send like the Coast Guard to actually like capture the boat or whatever.
New York Times or somebody did like a not even a deep dive investigative thing on it. They're like, okay, this is the type of boat it is, and they went out and talked to people that don't know boats. It would have had to stop like 20 times to refill with fuel.
Yeah. That seems obvious to me. It's kind of like you're going across
to Miami. It's not the boat. Like that's not the kind of boat. Not to mention, like another one that I thought was kind of a duh is. There's two duhs here. It's like one, like the first one they blew up was like there were like 8 guys on it. I think they said 6 or 8 people on it.
Yeah, something like that. I think
it's like, okay, if I got a boat full, if the point of if the point of this mission is to get as much drugs from point A to point B, you know what I'm not taking with me? More people.
Yeah.
I will have the minimum number of people that I need to operate this boat. It's not a sailboat, so one, maybe 2 is the maximum number of people required to get this boat going. Why do I have 4 other people on the boat?
I mean, I guess if it's allegedly fentanyl, I think, as I've heard it, I don't know a whole lot about it, but or say it a whole bunch of times, it only takes like, a fraction of amount. So, I mean, a couple pounds could go a long way or whatever.
You still got to take proper drug dealer logic, proper 101 drug dealer logic. It is possible that I'm going to get blown out of the water by some drone, apparently, for moving drugs. Am I going to move $1 worth or $500 worth?
Right.
I don't care how little it takes to do X, Y, or Z. The more I move, the more I make. And if I'm dead either way, like that's always one of the things I talk to people about when we're talking about hemp and weed and all that kind of stuff. It's like, look, since the class 1 or since the classification of marijuana into a class 1 substance and all that kind of crap, it is a felony to move it across state lines. It's the law is very clear on, dealing this drug, right? Well, the way the law is written doesn't care if it's good weed or bad weed. It's just weed.
Right.
So if I'm going to take the risk of going to jail or getting murdered, I'm going to sell the most expensive version, and I'm going to move as much as I can possibly get away with because it doesn't make a difference. A pound is a pound. That's all the law cares about it, is you have a pound of weed on you.
It's all funny, like anti-drug commercial come on about some young woman who like went to a concert or a party, like she's like, all I did was smoke a joint, but apparently it was laced with fentanyl, and then it's like her in a body bag or something. And I was like, I didn't realize it was getting that, because you're about just fentanyl being laced in like cocaine and heroin and stuff, but this is the first I've heard it kind of implied that people are adding fentanyl to marijuana.
I mean, I can't, like, I'm trying to think of the motivation. Because the idea, I think, is like, yes, fentanyl is so potent and powerful and fairly cheap to produce that by putting like a grain of it in a small amount of real coke and then a bunch of baby formula or whatever they're cutting the coke with, the consumer thinks it's good coke, but it's not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it feels good. Like it's got the feel of good. And so like it's just a bunch of baby formula really with a tiny bit of fentanyl in it, but it gets me where I'm going. Like the deception's in play. Cause like, again, just on a logic level, like I am drug dealer guy A. Dead people don't buy my drugs.
Yeah.
I have no incentive to kill my users.
I mean, you'll have that small fraction of drug users that are like, oh, they got the strongest shit. Like, I heard Billy died off of it. Like, I got to try that stuff.
Yeah, but that's not.
Right. That's a fraction of the.
No, you're
most
not
people want
trying
to
to make
continue
it. You're not necessarily
use.
going out of your way to make it safe to consume either. But
right.
You're certainly
Like
not
you
going
said,
to intentionally kill people.
You want to keep having to find new clients.
I think, but I mean, I'm like, I don't know, I don't doubt it. And it's probably not intentionally laced. Is probably more what it is. I've never heard of. I couldn't imagine the point of anybody that runs in the week. I mean, I would say that since fentanyl is so strong and so potent, and that if you're going to be dealing in whatever, you're going to be dealing in everything, and it's probably more of like a cross contamination lacing than it is a
possibly
intentional lacing. It's like, well, I got a bunch of fentanyl, broke that up, sold that off, but on the same table that I didn't do a good job cleaning, I broke a kilo of coke up, and now all that coke's got a little bit of fentanyl in it too.
I think there was a local story about be on the lookout for like some colorful, like rainbow colored fentanyl or some shit.
But I mean, I think that there is a strong market for users who are intentionally seeking out fentanyl.
Well, I mean, it is a prescribed drug. Like
right. But because
I had a friend's mom years ago that had like crazy back pain, and it was like a fentanyl patch.
Because it's so super potent.
Right.
And if I mean, if you're at the level where you're good with heroin, what's stronger than heroin? Fentanyl. Well, all right, give me that.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a illogical leap for people that are in that stage of addiction and stuff like that.
Right.
And so, yeah, but again, there's no evidence from, the DOJ and other, and the DEA and stuff like that, that there's any significant amount of any drugs, but specifically fentanyl coming out of
Venezuela. Or small boats, yeah. I want to say it was like the Columbias or something that had, there were stories, 5, 10, 15 years ago that like owned, because it was big, huge operations that owned like their own submarines that they were using to like bring in coke and stuff.
Yeah, there's a story about like some Coast Guard guy jumping on top of a submarine that had surfaced, and pounded on the hatch to get him arrested. But and I think like I read a story on it where it was basically saying that what the reality probably is with these boats is they might have some drugs on it, but it's probably cocaine that came from Colombia into Venezuela that is getting taken to like Trinidad and Tobago for distribution in Trinidad and Tobago.
For all tourists.
Right. Probably to Americans, yes, but not to America. It's people going down to Trinidad and Tobago to have a great vacation, party it up.
Go skiing.
Yeah, go skiing in the snow. And so, yeah, I mean, but it's still like, I mean, there's, I don't know, like, it's fascinating on the level of, like, it's kind of, I kind of get the potential intoxicant that it would be to be the president of the United States and to have such broad international power that you can just murder people in the open ocean. And the nations that those people are coming from, who know that you're lying when you're going out there and saying why you did it, are just like, yes, sir.
I think there was one nation or some representative or head of state that has brought about like murder or has filed some kind of murder charges. For one of the attacks.
Like, I don't know, like that's it's a privilege to be a white guy in America, I guess, because I'm not really worried about like South America, banding together to fight off this psycho that is America right now. That's the one saving grace in all this, is that I feel pretty confident that there's enough international bullshit between a lot of other people that they're not going to get together and be like, hey, why don't we get together and shut these fucks down? Although you do have the BRICS thing that's in play, which is pretty significant on the more economical warfare side of conversation. But it's like what, like, but I guess Argentina likes us because we like Argentina more than we like our own cattle and what was the other one? Soybeans. That's fucking crazy.
I don't know if I heard anything about soybeans, bro. I heard that we're trying to bring in some more cattle, which pissed off a bunch of American ranchers.
Yeah.
But apparently, they've like
What was
quadrupled.
Argentina with the soybeans?
That was China. China and the soybeans was our biggest purchaser of our soybeans is China.
Right, but they stopped buying from us, and then they bought a bunch from Argentina after we bailed Argentina out.
Gotcha.
Whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, I can't. Like,
I don't get like the whole like recent interest in it, because I think Trump was even like quoted with about the bailout. He's like, these people are like suffering. We've got to help them out.
Right. Well, the sucky part is
cut off all foreign aid. Like, why is this now? Why this country?
It's the closest to a libertarian to win a national presidential election in any modern nation. Yeah. It's like his ideas are great, but they don't work. Obviously,
rock and roll haircut.
Do I?
I guess haircut kills me.
No, I just like they're not working, and you can make some transitional argument or something. But like, if his ideas are so great, why do we need to bail him out to keep him working? And then, okay, fine, we bail them out, but then they immediately backstab us, cut their own export tariff, and sell all the soybeans that China needs to China so that China isn't forced to come to the table with us. Now, China probably could have got away with not coming to us either way, but it still doesn't help. Like, it's a really hard thing to swallow as an American citizen with our tax dollars going to Argentina, who is then selling China all their soybeans.
Yeah.
Where China's not buying a single one from us.
Well, China's diversified a lot of like their kind of potential customer markets for years.
They figured it right.
Going back, to the first Trump administration.
That's why dictatorships. That's why absolute authoritarianism is the best. At some level, it is the best because you can play the long game. That's the sucky part. Like the worst thing about the U.S. system is that we can't play the long game, ever. At all. I mean, like China in the 80s started working on a lot of this stuff that they are now that is now starting to come to fruition, which has taken them from a third world dive to arguably the most powerful nation in the world. The only thing that's kind of holding on is we have this weird tenuous like codependency issue that they're working their way out of and we ain't.
Right.
So at some point, anything that they need from us, they're going to find another place.
I think I read they cut off rare earth minerals again.
Well, because, what they need from us is our money because we buy shit.
Right.
And once they spread that...
But they have the ability, with the way their government is set up, to subsidize and basically pay factories for not producing much of anything. Right.
Right. Well, right, because their response to our tariff thing was just keep everybody working. We'll make sure, make this stuff. We'll dump it in the Pacific, but we'll get paid for it.
Right.
And, I don't know. It's interesting. Like, that's one of the Sager's thing. Like, Sager's, like, weird because Sager's the more Republican of the show, but he's like, I can't get mad at it, man. Like, you've got, like, if you look at it and you break it down, it's like, if you get to, like, dollars, we beat them hand over, we beat them all day long as far as, like, average incomes and stuff like that. But if you look at actual quality of life, Chinese are doing pretty good. They got cool as shit. Their new electric cars that we will not import. They will not allow import of the new Chinese EVs.
We won't allow it.
Right.
They won't allow export.
No, we won't allow the import.
Right. That was my understanding.
Yeah. That they are incredibly inexpensive, incredibly nice. Like good quality vehicles, luxury styles, stuff like that. But for like the equivalent of like 15, 20 grand, you can't buy anything off a lot brand new for 20 grand.
Right.
Like you can, what's a Versa now? Like 19.5?
Couldn't tell you.
I get some. I'm sure it's. I'm just saying, like hell, like I don't know. Like I don't think you could buy a new car in the United States for under 20,000, or not many. But they're good luxury EVs. They're coming off that you can get for 15, 17 grand equivalent, and we just can't touch it. And we won't let them in. And the argument for why we won't let them in is because, well,
It'll crush our market.
Right. All of the American made EVs won't be able. We won't be able to sell them here. We'll do better. Figure it out. What are we doing?
Now, whose problem is that we can't compete?
Right. It's our problem. And using these artificial tools to keep us competitive, the only people that are paying for that are me and you. China's not paying for that. They're doing okay without it. They would like us as customers, but they don't need us as customers. It's just me and you are paying more for stuff because our companies aren't good enough to compete with theirs.
Right. We've become heavily reliant upon their cheap stuff.
It's not just their cheap stuff; their expertise.
Them being able to make things cheaper than we can make.
Granted, the one truism that China does, without a doubt, is they have zero respect for intellectual property. Chinese companies will buy an American thing, reverse engineer it, and put their version out for 20% less, 50% less.
I mean, we're guilty of the same. I think they'd probably do it at a much bigger scale, probably more often. But
yeah,
in any international major corporation has their corporate spies, etc.
Yeah, but they don't even try to pretend like they're not doing it. Like there's at least like.
Really?
You know, like a lot of times with the American ones, it's like, okay, this company came out with this thing, let's take it, we're going to reverse engineer it, and then we're going to put our version out that takes that we upgrade and we fix some things that theirs fails at. So ours is different and better. It's not just a copy.
Right. That's the one problem is half the time we're already having them make it for us.
Right. They have all the technology and expertise.
Here's the plans.
Right. They have all the technology and expertise.
Will you make this for us? I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm like, huh.
Well,
it's really easy to print a different brand name on this thing. And
yeah, absolutely. Right. We're already making it. Like, I mean, that's one of the things in the vape market that was always an issue is I am 90% confident that there's a lot of counterfeiting that goes on in the vape game, but I'm 90% confident that most of the counterfeiting is not counterfeit. It's legit product that didn't pass quality control. That's getting a different sticker put on it and then getting sold as the original. You know, so it's something that they're said. So, you know, brand A comes over and says, make me this. And they say, okay. And they make this, and this is the standards that are met. And, you know, 15% don't hit the quality standard and get shoved in a box. And then they sell that whole box to somebody else who then repacks it to look like the original and sells it like the original, even though it didn't pass quality control. Which is shitty business. I mean, it's just shitty business because it's the original is now having to fight off people that are making copies of theirs, and they're not even real. They're not even actually. They're real versions of theirs. They're just not good enough to be theirs.
Of their versions.
Yeah. And I would assume that is not irregular in many industries, not just the vape game. I would assume that's regular in a lot of things. Yeah, but going way back and bring it back local unless you want to keep killing Venezuelans and Chinese right now.
Nah.
I mean, that's a fun little deep dive in it because that one drives, like the Venezuela thing drives me crazy. Is the other thing at the county commission agenda review meeting, and we touched on it a little bit last week, was Mr. Fox's push to get more details. Basically make sure that once to punish Visit Knoxville for being LGBTQ friendly, that's going to continue.
We talked about that last week?
I think so. Essentially the ordinance is that any nonprofit, anybody that takes any county tax money to do whatever their work is, he wants them to swear that they're not giving any money to undocumented people, and then another part and piece in the whole thing is that it doesn't go towards woke causes or things that the county commission doesn't approve of. Which, I mean, that does make some sense at some level. Basically, they want to open the book so they want proof. They want proof that no dollars go into that. Which, whatever. I don't know. It's so dumb. It's just dumb.
Is it legal? I mean, assuming you wouldn't do it if it didn't have some kind of
it's got. I mean, it's tax
it.
money. You have the right to ask whatever you want from people using tax money. And at some level, their books are open. Most of them are nonprofit organizations, which require some level of open accounting anyway, or at least some level of reporting.
Yeah.
And so the argument against from other commissioners is like, yeah, but they're already doing all this stuff, and a lot of these are small operations. this is just going to cost them money either in bringing in an accountant or hiring somebody to have to deal with the reporting we're asking for when that reporting kind of already exists. Why do we need to do it twice?
Yeah.
So
it's more of a scare tactic.
I don't know. We could just go into the general of like, who gives a fuck? Like, what are we doing?
Trying to make our dollars accountable.
If a hungry person is gay, they don't get food. Like, is that what we're talking about going towards here? Like, I don't know. Like, it's weird. Like, I had a weird kind of argument. Like, I have a hard time with, like, how do I word this? I don't understand the gay community. I don't get, like, it's not. Okay, so we had a little bit. We've had an on and off kind of, not battle, but just a difference of opinions with the gay bar that's next door to us down in the holler. I think Richard's a great guy. I love the place. I think XYZ is a great bar. If you're into it, you want to go to an actual, like, full-on gay club and do that whole thing, that is probably the best one in Knoxville, hands down. But because he's so good at it, and it's because the neighborhood has accidentally become an ally neighborhood because of how well he's done at what he does, is we've kind of picked up on some of that stuff as part of our business model, because that's what our clientele is asking for, because that's who hangs out in the neighborhood. And so we've had this kind of on and off fight with him, and I've been trying to figure it out because I think the reality here is I think the quote unquote gay bar still does exist in its own type. Like, it's its own type of bar in and of itself. It's different than a sports bar. It's different than a nightclub. It's different than XYZ. But it's different. Like, it's just, there's a different theme and feel to them. It's just the way it is. And they still do exist in their purest form, and it's great. But I think truly, realistically, culturally, as a society, most people don't give a shit anymore. Where the people that do, because of Trump and because of what's going on right now, feel more empowered to be assholes about their homophobia than maybe they were a couple of years ago, and that there is a different kind of plight for the gay community right now because of that. At the same time, I think the gay community has way more options on how to spend their time and money than they used to. And I think that's the transition that my neighbor is struggling with, because he is used to kind of owning the scene, because anybody that was part of the community really only had that one place to go. They didn't feel safe or comfortable at other places that weren't exclusively and intentionally gay bars. But now that, just regular bars and restaurants it's more apathetic, or like mildly supportive, but not thematically built around. But now that's gotten just kind of more normal, you can go to any bar or restaurant pretty much, and nobody's going to hate you for it. Some rando might be a dickhead, but for the most part, you're just a person spending money at a place.
Yeah.
And so the exclusivity of the clientele is starting to dilute, I think, is the reality. And I think it's unfortunate that he feels like that's actually a win for him personally. It's a win for the community, it really is. But he feels like that's an attack on his business, which it kind of is too.
Well, I wonder how many other, just like even like bar type businesses in general, are semi-struggling as well in the current economy.
I'm sure, I don't know.
Or if he's like looking for blame.
Right. I think that's a fair question too. And I think that, I don't know. I feel like the scene, I do feel like we're on the edge of the bubble. Like, we're right there, +1, -1. 5 more bars open, 15 are going to have to shut down kind of spot. This is kind of where we're at. I think the market is fully saturated, I guess maybe the way to say it. And so the more things that come online, the more things are going to have to come offline to normalize.
All right.
But I think that the number of exclusively gay bars has been pretty consistent for over a decade.
I've only ever kind of known of a few.
Right. And it's the same few that have been around forever. They've changed owners here and there from time to time, but for the most part, you have the core out here.
That's one behind Greens.
Yeah. The core out here in West Knoxville. You have
wonder how they get along as neighbors.
Huh?
Just wonder how they get along as neighbors.
Probably just fine because they don't. I don't think they probably even interact because, I mean, maybe some of the staff does, but I'm pretty sure the
kind of got off hours.
Right, I'm pretty sure the retail place closes well before the club opens.
Yeah.
But I think the scene's evolved. I think there's a lot of different parts and pieces to it. But I just think the reality is that for the most part, if you're a gay dude that wants to go out, you can pick your place. You can pick a lot more. You can pick from a lot more places now, depending on what you feel like. Like, you know, are you into sports? Do you want to go to a sports bar? Most sports bars, there's not a lot of sports bars that are going to chase you out when they're like, "Ooh, that's a gay dude." There's some. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to pretend like it's a perfect world out there, but
right.
For the most part, like if you want to go out and watch the game, you're going to go out and watch the game. The gay bar that you like to hang out at, it's probably not going to have the game on, so you're not going to go there for that part of your day. Where, you know, back in the day, you're just like, well, I'm not going to watch the game, but I'm going to go out, and that's the one place I can go out. And I think that's changed. I don't know the solution per se, but we had a long talk and it was fun. I enjoyed it because I'm weird. Got to diffuse some rage. Got to yell at people to stop yelling. And Max wants me to run for president now, which is like I'm not that good at it. Although I did, like I did leave it feeling pretty good about myself because it's like I didn't bring
respectfully push back.
I didn't bring anybody together, but it's just because I think my takeaway from it in a more like generic political sense of it, it's like it was a flat misunderstanding from the beginning, and the amount of jockeying and moving around and arguing about this thing over here and telling a story about that thing over here to get to what the actual point was took like an hour. But then when I'm it was like 45 minutes in, I was like, time out, stop. I'm trying to keep up with everything that's going on right here, and we've got like 55 balls that we're juggling in the air right now. Can we break this down? I want to make sure I understand what we're talking about because I don't know what we're talking about anymore. And I was like, 1 is this, 2 is that, 3 is that. Are we on the same page here? Okay, cool. This is what's happening with 1. This is what's happening with 2. This is what's happening with 3. Everybody good? Cool. And then, you know, what it really came down to was rumor shit. It was really just rumor shit. It was something that happened that when the story was told from person A to person B, it was 90% accurate, but that 10% was very important.
Right. And
it was missed. And instead of the conversation starting with like, hey man, this is what I'm being told about this. I don't know. Can we talk about it? It was, you're trying to do this thing that's trying to hurt me. And it's like, what are we talking about? And it took 45 minutes of craziness all over. Like I've learned more drag names in the Southeast than I'm ever going to remember in 45 minutes of just, and the two of them both know them all. Which is what's funny to me. Like Max and this guy were just talking about, hey, you know this person? Yeah, I know that person. Oh, this person told me this and this person told me that. And they both know everybody who they're talking about. And it's like pun-horrific and I don't have a fucking clue what's going on.
Yeah.
Like they're all these super punny drag names. And I'm like,
got to stand out.
What are we doing? I don't know. I don't even know what we're talking about right now. But, you know, everybody hugged out. We hugged it out at the end. Everybody wins.
That's good. Well done.
I do what I can. I love people. I love I really do. I love that guy Richard. He can be a dickhead, but like there is value to his existence, and I think he has done and I flat told him to his face. I was like, look, you have a reputation, Richard, and I spend more time defending you than I should because I know that you're better than what people think you are, but you don't do a really good job of helping me play in a defense case here.
Right.
Like you make it really easy for people to hate you, man, because you're really, really, really persnickety. But I defend you anyway because I know the truth, even though you don't present it to anybody, and I only picked it up from parsing parts and pieces of and talking to you out. You need to chill out. But it was fun. It was awesome. I was really happy with it. Oh, and the other big news, I guess, is we have a stay of execution on the weed industry here in Tennessee. I can't believe we didn't start with that. Yesterday, the 23rd of October, after hearings and debates and arguments and all sorts of different this, that, and the other, the THCA ban that was supposed to take place January 1st has got pushed back to June 30th. So the TLDR is nothing changes till June now. So everything that you're used to going to your hemp store and getting your THCA flower or disposables or all those things, nothing changes till June. And then the question is, what happens during session come January? And then will some new law take effect that starts July 1st, so that when this stay of execution that we're sitting under on June 30th ends, what happens July 1st? Right now, what happens July 1st is what should have happened January 1st, but it is likely we're going to have some new stuff in this legislative session. So, Dr. Briggs, you and I need to talk. You owe me at least $3,000. I spent $3,000. I spent... No, fuck that noise. I spent like $15,000. I spent like $3,000 or $4,000 in real money, but I've spent more than $10,000 of my brain and my time and energy trying to figure out how to do this fucking shit correctly, and now I get fucked for doing that again, as per usual. I do my best to do it right, and something happens, and I just waste. I mean, I've legitimately, so we built that stupid room in West.
Right.
I bought a distribution license. I built that stupid room. I did a bunch of paperwork. I have spent weeks preparing for this adjustment. Months.
Well, you're still set up for the inevitable worst case scenario.
No, I'm not. I have no idea anymore.
No.
Like right now.
If it changes drastically.
As of right now, today, I am set up for July, but I'm not because I don't know if I'm going to get, because it's an ABC license now and it's a different conversation. It's not functionally it's a different cost conversation. That's part of the reason I did what I did, was to get the ag license, because the ag license is way cheaper than the ABC license. And so I can get started with the ag license, and I've got a number of very potentially good client partners to be their official importer into the state of Tennessee lined up. I spent lots of time and capital and energy massaging these relationships to try to set it up, because I'm not offering a lot compared to some of these other distros that are in Tennessee. The only thing I'm offering is they get more of their money out of it than they would with anybody else.
Yeah.
That's my offer. I'm going to do a lot of work for very little money. Is my offer to all these guys, so that I could have some catalog put together. I spent a ton of fucking time on this, and which is weird, because I'm super conflicted about my feelings about this, because I'm super happy about it because it's really good for business. But I'm super mad about it because I spent a lot of fucking time and energy getting ready for this shit, and now it's out the fucking window. I'm really conflicted. Like I really, really am. Like I'm really, really angry, but I'm very relieved at the same time, because all this energy and effort I was not going to make up what we're going to lose. Like, this is a net positive for me that at least till June, things continue as is a net positive for me.
Yeah.
I know that, but I'm still really fucking mad about it. And I mean, it sucks because I didn't do it today. I should have done it today, but I'm going to have to go through my list of partners that I've been working with and be like, hey, this is still sort of on the table, but it's a whole different ball of wax that I got to work through over the next couple of months to figure out what I'm going to have to do come July 1 now, which essentially I just feel like a fucking dickhead. That's like, this is personal for me. Like, I just feel like a dickhead. I'm going to have to go back to these people and be like, hey, everything I told you wasn't a lie. It just changed yesterday. And so now it's going to be July, maybe. So I'm going to let the session start in the State House, and we're going to see what's brewing on the cycles and see if there's any new law changes coming up. In April, we'll start looking at it. We'll see where we're at. We'll touch base then, see if I want to do this again.
You would say some would be empathetic to it, because a number of states have been kind of going back and forth between, possibly getting medicinal, possibly going recreational, possibly banning or allowing. these derivatives.
I mean, I agree, and I can appreciate the premise of like, these people have been working with other people not dissimilar to me in other states that have been trying to figure this out. And I respect that from them stuff, but it doesn't make me feel better about doing it.
Right.
Because like the one thing I told them, like the one thing I tell everybody, it's like, I fucking guarantee you, I am as knowledgeable, if not more knowledgeable, than anybody else you're going to talk to about this when you're dealing in Tennessee. I guarantee it. And I still am. I'm not I knew this was a potential that was coming down the pipe. I knew yesterday was an important day that we had some hearings and we were going to get some announcements out of the state about how they're going to do X, Y, and Z. I knew it was coming. I've told people that it was coming. I told them that this was a potential outcome of it. But it's like, I don't know. Like I was feeling good about like being right about shit, and like I was feeling good about understanding it, and I was feeling good about having a plan to work through this thing, and it's just gone.
You need to get a guy on the inside.
I have a guy on the inside. I have multiple guys on the inside.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Is like I know that I have a guy that I can email him, and he email me. He will respond to my emails. Not many people have that in a transitionary phase in a major bureaucratic piece of shit that's going on right now.
Right.
I have a guy that can be like, hey, how's this work? He's like, I don't know. Let me ask legal. I'll get back to you. And he gets back to me. And I don't know the guy. We're not buddies or anything. I mean, honestly, it's flexing that because I have 2 state senators that told him to answer me when I ask him to, which is cool. And I was using that, and I wasn't bogarting it. I was telling other people that asked me questions about it, and I was explaining it to other people that I know that are in the state and out of the state and otherwise.
Right.
And, I'm not trying to corner some specialty thing to be selfish about it, but I put in the fucking work. I want to reap the benefits of putting in the fucking work here. And I'm not. But I am, because I'm better off not having this thing. Like, I'm really conflicted about this. I don't know how else to say it. Like, it's frustrating to me. Like, because again, it's the same thing. It's the same thing I always complain about. And I should call Becky probably first. Like, Becky, can I tell you once again about how I'm getting screwed for trying to do things right? But I'm not getting screwed. I don't know how to do that on this one. This one's a little different. But I did waste money trying to do things right. And it pisses me off.
Right.
But I should be happy right now. Because at the end of the day, this is tenfold better for my bottom line for the next 6 months, or for an extra 6 months, 7 months. So anyway, get your read on, people, and vote, for fuck's sake. And we'll start sending you calls to actions. Call Briggs' office and tell them that I was right in the first place, and just do what I tell you to do, Briggs, and you'll be fine. All right, let's go here. You've been eyeballing your phone. I see you.
Well, I normally kind of know our county. I didn't know where we were at. I was actually going to...
Oh, my bad. I didn't put the TV on for you.
I was actually going to mention the NBA kind of betting scandal was pretty fucking crazy.
Ooh, hit me. I don't know if I heard.
Oh, you haven't heard about this?
Oh, I did hear the NCAA next year is going to allow college players to bet on pro ball, whatever game, like regardless. So like college athletes are going to be allowed to bet on sports, just not their own.
I think I saw a story out of the Northeast that was talking about NIL deals for high school.
Why not? Fuck it.
I guess. Go all out. But no, I want to say there's like a coach, a player, there's like 4 or 5 like NBA stars that are like involved in this, that were like some shady ass like poker games that were going on, where they had like X-ray tables and using like, microchips and cards to do like card reading. But he also had like, I guess I'll mention it was like 4 out of the 5 major like mob families that were also like involved in this as well.
Cool. So it's not a betting scandal in the sense that they were betting on games and they weren't betting on.
Yeah, like when I first saw it, I was like, players and getting caught up in betting scandal. I'm like, oh no, I was like, this is about like fucking,
this is some casino style shit.
Yeah, like poker games that were going on.
I like it. Get after it, people. I would love to. What's wrong with people? Like, gambling's fun, don't get me wrong. But what's wrong with people?
I mean, apparently, I guess they were bringing people in to essentially like force them to lose, to where then they would have to like owe money to somebody.
Yeah.
It's either them like, oh, and then start getting coercion
right. Either
brought upon them.
Right. You know, I mean, you owe me $10,000, buddy, or you could just miss a couple free throws when it's important.
No, I don't think they were getting players to do that. I think it was more just kind of like high-end people or whatever.
Right. Or, hey, you know, you owe me $10,000, or bring like a couple friends out next time. Next time we host an event, bring a couple of guys from the team out that have some money. Come lose to us. And we'll cheat them out of money.
No, I think it was everyday people that were
whatever fucking
assholes. They were bringing in just like high-dollar people, but it was all in an effort to get more money, you know.
So we're hosting
have the VIG go against them.
We're hosting a PLO tournament for it's a charity PLO tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to. I don't have time, but I really want to go play that. Like, I love PLO.
I like it sometimes.
It pisses like it's.
I wouldn't want to be the dealer in it.
It's the most. It's a very frustrating game to play.
Right.
But it's a really fun game to play because nobody knows how to play it. I've met very few people who actually understand PLO. It's really frustrating to play because people play it like they're playing No Limit.
Right.
And they're playing No Limit Hold'em. And it's like, this is a different game. You understand that, right? And it gets them caught a lot.
Like, but I got two pairs. It's like, that's nothing in this game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like 4 out of 5 people
if
on the table
got
have
2
two
pairs,
pairs.
somebody has a full house.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's almost guaranteed. Like, full house is a decent hand. Like, I still like I debate I debate all the time what the best hole cards are, and like a double
suited,
all right, a double suited, like a 2 pair aces and kings in the hole suited,
right?
A big slick, is that right? I just blanked out. Yeah.
Big slick, yeah.
A two big slicks in the hole, because then you have the 2 best flush. Best straight, royal flush draws in play. It's weird, yeah. But I do like PLO. But it's slow. That's the thing. That's the other thing I like about PLO is like it really fucks with people who are impatient. If you have no patience, PLO is not the game for you. You're just going to lose quickly.
I just don't like having to like peek at like 4 cards.
I don't mind that part.
Yeah, it's not that bad. It's just a little bit more annoying.
Like it is
especially if you don't want to have to keep looking at your hands all the time.
Well,
it's like I keep forgetting what I've got. Like I know there's only 4 cards, but
I mean you should be able to remember 4 cards for at least a little bit. You just got to remember that the suits maybe gets a little more complicated. So yeah. Anyway, I got to figure out if I'm going to be able to make time to go to that one. All right. So anyway, we were supposed to get weird, but like I guess the mob basketball's sort of weird.
That's crazy. This seat taken? Thieves busted for stealing over 1,000 restaurant chairs in Spain. They busted a criminal group dedicated to stealing your seat, literally. Wednesday, they'd arrest 7 people suspected of stealing more than 1,100 chairs from outdoor seating areas at restaurants and bars in Madrid and other nearby municipality in just 2 months. A group of 6 men and a woman worked at night to pilfer the chairs from 18 different establishments in these different areas. The estimated impact of the stolen property was around $69,000, according to police.
Yeah, 69. That's funny.
60,000 euros.
What a red! I mean, what do you like? Are you?
Resell to other restaurants that need seats. These fell off a truck in the back. You need some chairs.
Hey.
Or you sell it back to them at a premium. Or you sell it to other restaurants that you've stolen from. Not you don't want to try to sell the same chairs
back.
You
steal all those restaurants' chairs. You steal 2 restaurants' chairs and sell their chairs to each other.
Yeah.
Because they're both in desperate need of chairs, but you can't sell them their own back because then you're going to get caught. Which I guess you're going to get caught anyway because that's how we got the story. But random, check. I mean, okay, like if you want to talk about like why we can't have nice things. So we got a couple of little solar lights for our deck. Mainly just to highlight the stairs so people don't trip on our stairs because it's kind of like the general lighting in the back is not great.
Right.
And so we got some solar lights that we put on the stairs to show you where the stair is. they lasted 3 nights before they disappeared. And they're not even like they're like the resale value is probably a quarter. Like they're not worth anything. They were like $3 a piece.
Right. 3 years ago, we bought some like little LED lights that you put inside of a pumpkin. And I think within a couple nights, somebody had taken those out of the pumpkins that were out on the front porch. I was like, what the fuck happened to our lights? Like, fuck.
Fucking people.
Didn't even live in that big of a neighborhood. Kind of.
Fucking people. People are the worst. People are the best, too, to be fair. We got this, one of our neighbors has a very nice, it's a very nice street legal golf cart. And so there's this, I don't know if they're sisters, but there's these 2 teenage girls that are like 13, 14 that will drive around the neighborhood blasting bad music in this golf cart all the time.
Does it have a plate on it? How's it legal?
It's got the like turn signals and lights. It's got all the lights and stuff that it can drive. It can be on the road. Which, like, because like they will take their kids. They will go pick up their other. The adults will go pick up the kids that go to the elementary school in it, and it's fun. It's like I don't mind it per se. It's just is this what kids are doing for fun now? Driving in circles in a golf cart around the neighborhood.
It's big in Florida. A lot down there. The couple times I've gone down for vacation.
But I can see it if you're like interacting with other people that are doing so. If a lot of people are doing that, but like they're going on Numbered Ridge with that shit.
Yeah, fuck that.
It seemed like I like that's part like that's why I think like one of the neighbor kids who's like 11 or 12. He's got a little a mini bike, I guess you call it. Like it's not really a motorcycle, but it's a motorcycle technically, but it's like little and it's got big fat wheels, but it's like a small bike. And he'll ride that thing around this neighborhood, and it's loud and no muffler and blah, blah, blah. But then he goes up on Numbered Ridge that too. It's like, the kid's going to get fucking killed. Like, Numbered Ridge traffic is serious traffic. Yeah, he wears a helmet, but still, it's like, I don't know. Like, what are we supposed to do with this? Like, I don't want to be like a narc and any of that, but I also don't want this kid to get hurt. But I don't know. It's just, it seems like a bad idea. But I'm also not the type that's going to be like, consequences are consequences. So, what am I supposed to do?
The guy I worked with years ago, I think it was like a Honda Ruckus. It was a small, like little, had an engine, but apparently it was only 49 cc's, which I think by state law, anything less than 50 cc's, you don't technically have to have a motorcycle license for. So you can ride on it. But he would ride that from, I think he lives close to the shop. Right there, all the way out to West Knoxville. Just go down Middlebrook.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weirdism. Like it's a weirdism. Like some of these e-bikes nowadays. Holy shit, man! Those things will fly.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a weirdism. I think I have 2 different competing things here. It's like if you're out in the country and the neighbor was a mile away, and this kid's riding around the neighborhood on his little dirt bike thing, I wouldn't be that big a deal. It wouldn't bother me in the same way. Same thing with these girls in the golf cart thing. Like it wouldn't bother me in the same way if we were out in the boonies. I think it's a parent thing. I think it's something about the parent in me that's like, there's a danger here,
right? Because
of the amount of traffic we have of normal cars. There's a danger here that I'm concerned with. Like I'm concerned that there's going to be a random crucifix that shows up on the side of the road that I'm gonna have to look at every day because I saw this coming and I could have done something to stop it and I didn't, and I don't want to deal with the guilt that doesn't really belong to me but I'm going to carry anyway. That's kind of what it is in my head. Where if it's out in the country, it's like, that kid's not going to die. He might roll it off in the ditch or whatever, but it'll be fine. He's not going to get hit by a fucking truck. Maybe. You got less cars on the road, but you also got probably more windy and kind of like blind turns and whatnot. But I don't know, maybe it feels more natural to have the random crucifix on the side of the road out in the country than it does in the city. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Or when the neighbors are mourning and, when the parents are mourning and the husband starts beating the wife, I don't have to hear it down the street because it's right next door to me. I'm just trying to figure out how to make it make sense in my head. I don't know. I don't get why I care this much. Like I shouldn't care this much. Like I don't like that kid anyway. The girls I don't know, but the kid on the motorcycle, I hate that kid. And maybe that's part of it too, the guilt that I'm going to feel because like there's going to be like a tiny bit of me that's glad he's dead. Then I'm feel bad about that. All right, everybody. I hope you turned off this episode a couple minutes early because I got real dark and I don't know. If there's a hell, there's probably a warm seat for me in it. Probably not. I feel like I'm generally a good person.
Yeah.
I mean, my guilt here is that I don't want this kid to die, even though I don't like him. Like that's my conflict here. But maybe I'll get him into weed and he'll go down the slippery slope of drugs and alcohol because he started smoking weed. The gateway drug.
So they say.
With yeah, because the Venezuelan weed will get you fucked up. That's right. That's really what it is. Yeah. What better way to close? Hey, we know no AI. Except for that, we made it. We made it through a show without an AI problem. Almost Agreement at gmail.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, go to the website, Almost Agreement, check out what's going on there. Go to your favorite podcast provider. We're on those, and you should like our show. You should share our show. You should tell your friends about our show. You should go to our social medias and do the same, and do what you can do to support it. I don't know. We're going to do. I'm going to keep talking shit. Fuck Betsy Henderson. I forgot to say that at some point in this episode. Betsy Henderson sucks. If you vote for her, you're an idiot, and I hate your general existence. I don't know. We'll get to that as we get to that. Early voting ends this week. Election day is a week and a half from now. So we will celebrate some new bodies and faces and whatnot. Anyway, almost agreement at gmail.com. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.